One of the challenging topics we've got, right, is should a child go or have contact with a parent who has been a perpetrator of DV, okay? And I would say the answer is yes and no, but let's look at the legal element of it. Typically a father, he would have parental responsibility and will have a right to see his child. And the DV could have been demonstrated to be between two parents only, but never the children. And I know there's a long debate about whether a child should see that partner, and I get a lot of comments saying, why did they allow the child to go with that person? Actually, what happens sometimes, and this is really hard to hear, okay? Some people might find this a bit triggering, but what's really hard to hear is there are cases where a parent will say, why have you put my child with someone who we know has inflicted DV, perpetrated DV? And then the other question is, and this is something that we never see on social media, is someone say, if social services felt that it was better for a child sometimes to go with the perpetrator, we have to look at why that initial or main carer parent was unsuitable as well. So imagine this, why would it be a situation where a child can't be with the victim? There's a side to that story that you haven't heard and doesn't make sense to you. And one thing we have to be careful of, and I always encourage parents to be careful what they say about themselves, because when you put your story out there and say, why was I this and why was I that, you're actually also telling another story. And that's why when I do my TikTok lives, I always warn parents to be careful what you say about yourself, because you're inadvertently telling clues about your situation. Because social services might then say, look, that parent might have been guilty of certain things, but we never found him unsafe to, and there's no evidence of harm to the children. It might have just been between the two parents, but we have to also ask questions as to why social services felt that the child was safer with the other parent. And if you put it out there about yourself that they gave my kid to the perpetrator, what if the child is dead? I mean, social services have looked at it and said they would have been safer with that parent because of behaviors you display as a parent. This is complicated. I want you to understand is that we never have the whole story. That's my point. We never have the whole story. It shocks me, like on the face of it, if you talk to some social workers, you start reading the first part of the referral in the assessment or the police report, you've got one version of events, and as you go through the assessment, you start to see it unfold into something more serious. We've discussed cases in group supervision over the years where people have you read the first part of the story and you're like, well, this is the outcome, because we are always judging. And then you read further and you're like, what the heck is going on? This evolved into something else. This is why I always encourage like a level of accountability. And I've worked with so many parents. Most parents that I work with, most parents, I'm telling you now, I'm talking about 80%, 75, 80% of parents are accountable for the things that happen. They may not even be able to change their behavior, but they're aware of it and say, fair enough, I was wrong. And if I was to put their story out, or if they were to put their story out there without that accountability, it looks like we're always failing as social services to get things right. But when you listen to the other side, like two sides, like there's usually two parents involved, you will see that actually it's not what it is on the face of it. So when you put your story out there, remember, anybody who's in the audience watching these stories, any parents out there who are scared of social services because they think that we're just going to do a one-sided thing, I'm going to say this to you. There's two sides to the story. Now, the truth is this, we do get it wrong sometimes, but nobody can count as to, we can't calculate how many times someone's wrong. But I want to say this to you, because it's impossible to do that. I'll say this to you. I said it in my previous post, 2 posts down. There's two sides to every story. Sorry, I've just got to reverse back a bit. I've got to go.